Tom was talking about how many days it is to you become president. I'm going to, microphone, is that working? A little better? All right, I'll get a little closer. I have to lay this up here so I can make sure I don't miss anything. Well, we're going to go backwards a little bit right now. 4,019 days. That happens to be 11 years, so you don't have to get out your calculators. 11 years ago today, District Governor-elect Fred Heitman, yay, over there, from District 6780, and I were sitting in this room at the first Mid-South Pets, preparing for the unknown, our year as president of our clubs in 2005 and 2006. One of the founders of Mid-South Pets is none other than Rotary International Director Karen Wentz, who's our speaker tonight. And she was governor of District 6780 during our year as president. Karen's been a Rotarian since 1990. She's a member of the Rotary Club of Maryville, Alcoa, Tennessee. I was waiting on Beth to say something. Okay. And she's the Rotary International Director for Zones 3031 for 2015 through 17. The details of her service to Rotary, her passion for the Rotary Foundation, and her dedication to the eradication of polio may be found in your printed program and also in the bios in the online app. Now for a tidbit of unknown information from an unnamed source that she'll probably recognize. Before the time of the terrorists and all the added security, there was a time when cruise ships offered shooting contests off the back deck, and you could do trap shooting. Well, she took a cruise with her children, and she wowed them with her shooting prowess. She not only won the ladies' division, she actually outshot the male winner, so I thought that was pretty cool. Now, Fred and I wonder if awareness of this skill could be why we always say yes when she calls. So now it's my honor to welcome to the podium my friend and mentor, Rotary International Director Karen Wentz.
Wow. Thank you so much, Bobby, for that wonderful, wonderful introduction and walk down memory lane. And there were a lot of other things that Ron could have told you that I might not have wanted to be made public. But that was a true story, and my kids were amazed. Sometimes your kids don't know, and your friends don't know, all of the things that have happened in your life. So good evening, Rotary leaders. It is really, really, really an honor to be here with you, and Bobby has just shared with you one of the principal reasons. But it's also an honor because I love Rotary, and I love being with Rotarians. I'm inspired by you, I'm excited, and I'm energized by all of your ideas and your dedication and commitment to service above self. And I know every person in this room loves Rotary, so let me hear you say it. I love Rotary. All right. This is, as Bobby told you, my 12th year at Mid-South Pets. I guess I'm a bit of a slow learner. I come back year after year after year and sit in the sessions, and now for the last, I guess, 9 or 10 years, learning from Michelangelo Caruso. But I enjoy every minute of it. Past District Governor Glenn Vanderford, who's also in the audience, I do want to acknowledge Glenn because he has been at every one of these 12 Mid-South Pets as well, as one of the founding governors. We took a chance that year. We took a chance, the 2 Tennessee districts, the 2 Kentucky districts, and put this thing together with a lot of help and mentoring from none other than John Jerem. The 2 Alabama districts came along a couple of years later. So what do you think? Has it turned out well? Yeah. Yeah. Tonight I'd like to share a few thoughts with you about Rotary serving humanity, opportunities, and connections. And the title of the speech, when Bobby asked me for a title, I said An Unexpected Journey, and I'm only going to touch on that a little bit, but altogether, Rotary serving humanity and opportunity and connections took me on an unexpected journey through Rotary, and it will take each one of you on an unexpected journey as well. You know, the club presidents-elect in this room have the best job in Rotary, absolutely the best job in Rotary. It's one brimming with opportunities as well as great responsibility. Rotary around the world happens at the club level. Everything happens at the club level. It's where every project, every program, every great idea begins. And every club president's responsibility is to motivate the Rotarians in your club, to inspire them and to lead them, to make your club great. In your role as club president next year, you have the most important job in Rotary. Every year, our Rotary presidents choose a theme to help motivate and inspire all of us. Every theme is different, and each year we look forward to learning what that theme will be. Many of us remember some of the themes of the past. They encouraged us to light up Rotary, to engage Rotary change lives, to lead the way, create awareness, and take action, and this year to be a gift to the world. Each theme brought us together. Each theme motivated us and helped to remind us throughout the Rotary year why we serve Rotary. Each theme captured a special aspect of leadership, a special facet of Rotary. They reminded us about what we needed to do to be effective in our humanitarian service. Rotary International President-elect John Germ, who will be with us tomorrow night, his theme, Rotary Serving Humanity, is a little different in my opinion. It tells us something about the history of Rotary. It captures Rotary's past, present, and future. It actually tells a story. It tells the entire history of Rotary, which is comprised of stories about how Rotarians have served humanity over these many, many years. So how do we, as Rotary leaders, act on this theme? How do we use it to motivate? And what does it mean to you? President-elect John speaks about opportunity and what you can make of it. He says there are no small opportunities. Every opportunity can be great if you seize it and make the most of it. It's up to you. Now, opportunity is formally defined as a set of circumstances that makes it possible to achieve something or to do something. It's a very simple definition. The key here is the makes it possible, to recognizing the circumstances that you have and then using them to make it possible. And that's your challenge in your leadership role. How can you use your leadership role to make it possible for your Rotarians to serve humanity? That's one of the things you are here at Mid-South Pets to learn about and begin to decide in your own Rotary journeys. As president-elect of your club, it is your responsibility to motivate the members of your club, not just seize the day, but to seize the opportunity. Carpe diem, carpe opportunitatem. Now, we know that Rotary is a grassroots organization. Our clubs are autonomous and each club gets to choose its own projects and how it serves its community. Each of our clubs is unique. Our clubs are the heart of Rotary, and you have the best job in Rotary. As leaders of your clubs, you play the key role in Rotary serving humanity next year. Opportunity and responsibility go hand in hand, and the opportunities will abound. They'll be all around you. So what kind of opportunities might you have? The opportunity to grow your membership is always a priority in Rotary. The opportunity to lead your club to be a truly vibrant club, one that's full of energy, one that excites people when they come to it. As Michelangelo said, if a visitor comes and is excited by your club, then you have a truly vibrant club. You have the opportunity to celebrate the 100th anniversary of our Rotary Foundation and support it, at least at the level of $100 per member, but to at least increase the level of giving that your club members have. You have the opportunity to support the end game for polio eradication, and I know that we'll hear more about that during the course of the day tomorrow, because we are really, 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 really getting close to that end game now, and plans are in place to follow through with that. And you have the opportunity to find new ways to serve humanity. As Rotary leaders, we should never be content to just keep doing things the way they've been done before. That's a passive approach, and I don't know many passive Rotarians. The Rotarians I know are active and engaged. They're engaged in life, and they're engaged in their Rotary clubs. We can always do a little bit more. You may already have wonderful service projects, but you know there are millions of people in the world that are still waiting for clean water. Millions of people in the world that are waiting for basic sanitation, for toilets, for basic education, better health care facilities. There are millions of people in this world that are hungry. And each and every one of these unmet needs is an opportunity for you and the Rotarians in your club. Each one of us has our own strengths and our own gifts, and each one of us lives in a different place with different circumstances, and there are different needs in our communities. Each one of us can help to meet those unmet needs as we serve Rotary. And there is no better way to focus and fund our projects than through our Rotary Foundation. All of us came into Rotary because we wanted to make a difference. We wanted to make a difference and make the world a better place. But you know, we're all really busy people. We have families and lives and many, many responsibilities. We have jobs. We can't really just stop all that so that we can go and change the world. But maybe we can. And maybe we do every single day through Rotary. Through Rotary, we can change the world. We can work together to bring all of our talents and skills, leverage our club members' talents and skills and our dreams with those of other Rotarians in your community, in your district, and around the world to make a real difference. And to be, as RI President Ravi Ravindan says, a gift to the world. Because make no mistake about it, each of you is a gift to the world through Rotary. As Rotarians, we engage leaders, exchange ideas, and take action. Have you heard those 6 words before? Those 6 simple words embody what Rotary stands for. They describe how we can turn a fairly small project and a small opportunity into something really big. It's what we do every day around the world. And just think about polio eradication for a perfect example of that. Polio eradication started out as a small Well, it wasn't small, but it was a project in one country in the Philippines. It was a grant, a 3H grant back in those days. And look what it's become now, because of the dreams and the skills of Rotarians who turned a smaller opportunity into a huge opportunity for us to rid the world of the dread disease, polio. And we do this every day in a fairly routine manner and don't think twice about it. The key concept implied in these words and what makes this all work is connecting. It's connection and connecting. It's what one of the core of the original Rotary Club was, connecting the four founders with each other. Connections. It is the connection to others, the connection to humanity, that underlines the spirit of Rotarians around the world. And then we can take action. When we connect, we take action. When we connect with one another, we take action. And sometimes it's the other way around. We connect and then take action. Each of us has special Rotary moments that we can share, and I've heard so many inspiring Rotary stories as I've traveled around the world and especially around our zone and our districts. These are experiences that we feel deeply about. They're experiences that are meaningful to us. And they're personal experiences because we know we are making a difference. And at the heart of every Rotary story I have ever heard is a connection. It's a connection with people. It's a connection with doing good in the world. So I'd like to share two of my stories with you about connection and the work we do in Rotary. And I hope over the course of the weekend, some of you will share your Rotary stories with me. I will never forget walking down a dry and dusty path in the African country of Malawi with a group of Rotarians on their way to finish a hand-dug well. I saw a little girl in a field with a small plastic bucket, a toy bucket like you'd see a child would have at the beach. She was watering little plants in this field one by one so that she could keep them alive because the food from those plants were keeping her family alive. To refill her bucket, she had to go to a seep and dig down below the dirt until the seep filled that bucket up. And that seep was the same seep where the animals found water and where she had to go for water for her family. This small child spent her days carrying little buckets of water and watering plants. This small child should have been in school. She should have been laughing and playing with her friends. She should have been having the life of a child instead of having to help her family just survive. As we walked toward the well site, I knew that when the well, provided in part by Rotarians in my own club, was finished, that child would be able to have clean water to drink. A pipe could run from the well down to the field, making her job and those of others who took care of those plants much easier, giving her time to go to school and giving her time to play. As we walked back to our van, she came up to me and she reached out her hand and held my hand and walked with me all the way back to the van. It was one of my most powerful Rotary moments, a very powerful human connection made possible through Rotary. The well was a gift to her and her village. The well was a gift from Rotary, but her simple act of taking my hand and walking with me in the knowledge that her life would be made a little easier was perhaps one of my greatest gifts. The second story is about connecting a little bit different way. It's about connecting and an opportunity. My husband Ron and I went to India recently, representing President Ravi Ravindran at a district conference there. We were in the city of Chennai, and the conference was attended by about 1,800 people. It's a little different than the district conferences we tend to have here. That experience was a wonderful experience. And our aide, whose name is Venki, he had a really long name, so I won't share that with you, but his nickname is Venki, was a Rotarian I had known for quite some time. He'd been a Rotary coordinator with me, and so we enjoyed a lot of camaraderie. He took very good care of us, including making sure that we could get a little food that wasn't so spicy that it burned our mouths out. And he took us on a tour of some Rotary projects when the conference was over. Wonderful projects that had to do with educating girls. There was one project that was an orphanage for educating girls, and they were fantastic. Another project was a vocational training facility that focused on the education of girls. On our final day, we visited these projects, and Ron and Venki got talking about some projects that we might be able to do together, some projects that might be of interest to Rotarians in our home. They discussed the possibility of some global grant partners and ways that we could assist these projects that focused on the education of women and children. These were opportunities, prospects and opportunities. Now the next step in our journey, because Ron had never been to India before, I had been there a couple of times before, but he'd never been there, so I wanted to take him sightseeing. And so we signed up for a tour of Delhi and Jaipur and seeing the Taj Mahal in Agra, which we did on Valentine's Day, by the way. It was the best Valentine's Day ever. As usual, Ron had his Rotary cap on as we joined the tour group of about 28 people. He had his Rotary cap on, and I had my Rotary pin on. And very quickly, three other people in the group self-identified themselves as Rotarians. That happens when you have your Rotary gear on. Other Rotarians, also with their gear on, come up and say, "Hey, what club do you belong to? Where's your district?" et cetera, et cetera. It turns out that this one couple who lived in Stillwater, Minnesota, knew several Minnesota Rotarians that we also knew well. A very small Rotary world. Rotary connections everywhere. The tour leader generously allowed me to give a lecture on the bus as we traveled from one place to another about polio in India. Most of the people on the bus, and even the tour leader, knew very little about it. And so for about a half an hour, I took the opportunity to deliver my message about what polio in India was, what India was like before polio eradication, because I remember what it was like. Before Rotary, working with a lot of partners in India, made India polio-free. Our new Rotary friends from Minnesota have a daughter who happened to live in Chennai, the city that we just came from. And they became very interested as we talked about the work we did down there and the projects we did in Venki's project, which focused on school improvement. So now that project is going to become a reality because of the connections that we were able to make through Rotary. Connections that turned into an opportunity. Opportunities and connections. Taking advantage of those all the time. And each one of you, I'm sure again, has stories to tell like these. And each one of you will find opportunities that you can take advantage of through your Rotary connections. These stories connect us together powerfully as well. Each of us have had different experiences of connecting for good through Rotary, and that's what we're doing, connecting for good, to serve humanity through Rotary. So think about these experiences that you have had, and how have you and the Rotarians in your club connected for good, and build on them as you go through your experience next year. Now, I can't leave the stage without saying a few words about the Rotary Foundation. The Rotary Foundation is approaching a very significant milestone during your year as president. In June 2017, we will celebrate the 100th anniversary of the foundation, 100 years of doing good in the world. The anniversary presents us all with more opportunities to connect and serve Rotary. Now, Shakespeare said everything, but one of the things he said was, "The past is prologue." So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the past here and a little about the history of the Rotary Foundation. The 8th Annual Convention of Rotary International was held in Atlanta, Georgia on June 17 through 21, 1917. And wouldn't you know, we're going to have 100 years later a Rotary International Convention in Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah. In 1917, it was a difficult and challenging time for the world. World War I was still raging, and there was much sacrifice and suffering throughout the world. At the time, there were 331 Rotary clubs and 32,600 Rotarians in 4 countries: U.S., Canada, the British Isles. I know the 4th? Cuba. It was Cuba. The Rotary Club of Havana was founded in 1917. Weary of war and hoping for an end to it, Rotary leaders were looking ahead, and in his address to the RI Convention 100 years ago, or actually 99 years ago now, then RI President Arch Klump said, "There should be a realization that Rotary is greater than any one man in it." We'll forgive him about the man, we'll call it person. Any one person in it, or any single club. That it is not a local movement, nor is it a national movement, but a world force that has taken on an impetus that cannot be diminished. Klump had a vision for Rotary after the Great War, and he saw an opportunity to fulfill his vision. And this is what he said: "We shall face our greatest opportunity by bringing into the folds of Rotary the flags of every civilized nation throughout the world." Today, Klump's vision is close to being realized, with Rotary displaying the flags of more than 200 nations and territories around the world. But perhaps the most historic moment of the convention was when President Klump proposed to set up an endowment fund for the purpose of doing good in the world. And the first donation was $26.50. You're going to hear that number a lot in various combinations over the next year. So it's other opportunities for you. These are Klump's exact words. Now, I'm a researcher, and so I always go back to the source material. I actually looked up the convention proceedings. You can get them on Google Docs, and it is fascinating to read this kind of stuff. This is what he said: "We have called the attention of the organization this year to the possibility of a future endowment fund for Rotary, carrying on as we are," and I love this phrase, "a miscellaneous community service. It seems eminently proper that we should accept endowments for the purpose of doing good in the world in charitable, educational, or other avenues of community progress." And thus, our Rotary Foundation was born. A few short sentences, a guiding philosophy, and a phrase that we all know so well: doing good in the world, led to the development of one of the world's most respected charitable organizations that does so much good in the world. Doing good in the world is rather a broad phrase, and I don't believe Arch Klump had any idea what that would come to mean. But as our foundation evolved and grew, doing good in the world translated into millions of lives impacted, saved, or changed for the better through our Rotary Foundation. It translates into thousands of wells and clean water projects, and thousands of surgeries performed for cleft palate or kidney transplants or glaucoma or a number of other health conditions. Thousands of schools improved, millions of children immunized against polio, thousands of group study exchanges and ambassadorial scholars and peace fellows. Presidents-elect, each of you has a great opportunity next year to lead your club in celebrating these achievements of our Rotary Foundation, doing good in the world and doing more good in the world. Remember our definition of opportunity, a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something. The set of circumstances is there, and it's in your hands to make the most of it. It's in your hands to make it possible, to make those small opportunities into big ones. So what are you going to do with them? That's one of the first challenges you have as you return to your clubs, to make a list of all the things that you might see as opportunities that you will embrace in your club. For the foundation, you might set a goal, a dream goal, a big goal in terms of annual giving. You might ensure that your club gives $2,650, echoes of $2,650, for polio eradication, because even though the end is that close, I think you'll hear tomorrow how much is needed to continue and to win the battle against polio. You could identify a new major donor. You could participate in a district grant or participate in a global grant. That's the beginnings of your list, and I'm sure it will grow ever longer. There are so many ways that you can, in fact, take opportunities and make them real. Mother Teresa once said, "I know that what I do is only a drop in the ocean, but the ocean would be less but for that one drop." Everything that we do as Rotarians may seem like a drop in the ocean, but together we are like a mighty, mighty river that flows down to the sea. We are Rotary serving humanity. And every individual drop on its own matters. Every person you touch through Rotary and the Rotary Foundation, every gift that you give to that one person, it means the entire world. The effect on the lives you touch through Rotary may well go on through generations. The education of one girl child in Africa, in Honduras, in Mexico, or in Tennessee will affect the lives not only of that child, but of her family, of her community, and possibly of her country. Because what happens is when a girl child gets an education, they marry later, they have fewer children, every one of the children is literate. Everyone will get an education and learn to read and write. Her village will prosper as well, because the educated people in her village might get a microloan and start a business. They may get advanced education, and who knows, maybe someday they'll become the president of Rotary International. Every day in Rotary presents new opportunities. It's what you make of them. I have a favorite poem that I'll read you in conclusion that I'd like to share by the 17th century poet John Donne. For me, this poem helps me to understand the power of human connection and the power of Rotarians to serve humanity. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less. As well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends or of thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I'm involved in mankind, and therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee. Every human being on earth no matter what their circumstances, is the concern of Rotary. So I wish you all a very, very successful year as you lead your clubs, as you identify opportunities and you turn them into significant projects, as you connect for good and serve humanity for Rotary. Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure to be with you. Thank you.